How's it going, everyone? I hope you all are doing great and I hope you all had a relaxing weekend. I am Radu and I'm back with another daily analysis, starting off with the Forex analysis as per usual. And to be more exact, we are going to start with GBP USD, where we have a nice sell limit opportunity as we all can see. So, what did I see on GBP USD here? I saw a liquidity sweep above the series of highs, followed by an impulsive break of structure to the downside. We can see that we had a very big bearish momentum here. Therefore, price left some imbalance behind, and we can see that we have this fair value gap lining up perfectly with our area of interest. Okay, now we want to see a corrective pullback towards our fire zone in order for us to pull the trigger, and that's exactly why this is a valid setup. All right, so now we can move on to the next pair in our watch list, which is CAD JPY. So on CAD JPY, again, we have a sell limit opportunity, liquidity sweep here, followed by a impulsive move to the downside. We can see these huge bearish candles. A fair value gap was also left behind in our premium area. Okay, and now we want to see a corrective pullback towards our fire zone in order for us to pull the trigger. And if we enable the trader indicator, we can see that we have a pretty good confluence with it. Okay, we have the 4-hour that's bearish. Okay, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, we want a bearish graph on the trader indicator. All right, so now all there's left is for us to wait for a corrective pullback towards our fire zone in order for us to pull the trigger. All right, next up we have odd CHF with a nice buy limit opportunity. All right, so right here we can see that we have a shift in momentum. What do I mean by that? We were constantly breaking lower and lower until here when price did a small liquidity sweep followed by a break of structure to the upside. We can see we broke this high pretty aggressively, and now we can see that we are trying to break this high here as well. So definitely a shift in momentum. Okay, we have this aggressive move towards the upside, and we also have a fair value gap that's been left behind that is lining up with our area of interest. And if we enable the trader indicator, we have some great confluences with it. The graph is looking pretty good. Okay, and then we also have the trader order block that is lining up perfectly with our fire zone. Now all there's left is for us to wait for a corrective pullback in order for us to pull the trigger and take this setup. All right, it's that simple. We keep it super simple and super straight to the point. Next up, Euro CHF with another buy limit opportunity, looking very similar to odd CHF. Okay, very similar. Again, we have a shift in momentum. All right, we can see that price all of a sudden started to be bullish and break structure to the upside. We can see that we broke these two pretty significant lower highs. Okay, and we also swept liquidity right here. After that, after the liquidity was swept, like we discussed, price broke structure to the upside pretty aggressively, and it also left some fair value gaps behind. Right here we can see we have this fair value gap lining up perfectly with our area of interest. All right, and if we enable the trader indicator, boom, beautiful. The graph is looking pretty good, and then we have two trader order blocks lining up perfectly with our fire zone. Now, as always, all there's left is for us to wait for a nice corrective pullback in order to pull the trigger. All right, and lastly, for our Forex analysis, we have GBP CAD with a nice buy limit opportunity. Again, on this pair, we have a pretty good bullish momentum overall. Okay, we can see that we were trending towards the upside for almost 1 month. All right, and here we have a pretty textbook liquidity sweep followed by a pretty aggressive break of structure to the upside. Okay, we broke structure here and also here. Then we also left some imbalance behind. We can see we have this unmitigated order block lining up perfectly with our area of interest. And if we enable the trader indicator, beautiful, looking very beautiful. The trader indicator gave us some great confluences for today's analysis. Okay, we can see daily 4-hour bullish on the graph, and then we have two trader order blocks lining up with our discounted area. All right, and now, as always, we want to see a corrective pullback in order for us to pull the trigger. All right, and yeah, this pretty much ends today's Forex analysis. As always, if there's any questions, make sure to reach out on Discord. And now I will go over today's metals analysis, starting off with gold. So on gold right now, I don't see any potential setups. We had a great setup last week, a beautiful buy limit sniper that played out very nicely. But for this start of the week, I don't really see anything. Yes, we could say that we have a nice bullish range here, but this level here is a very important higher time frame level, and I want to see how price will react to it before looking for any setups. Okay, so on gold, currently we will just sit on the sidelines and wait for price to develop. Okay, we can see that it was super bullish for the past couple weeks, and now it approached this important higher time frame level. Okay, so currently on gold, we're just gonna stay on the sidelines and wait for price to develop. Next up for our metals analysis, we have silver. So on silver, we have a pretty choppy price action here. We can see that we kind of created a box. Price was consolidating for these these past 2 weeks, I would say, in this box right here. So what I would like to see is either a aggressive break to the up or to the downside, and then look for a possible range that we could trade. Okay, because currently on silver, I don't see anything. Okay, so same as with gold, if we don't see anything, we just leave the price to develop and we wait. And we stay on the sidelines and focus on the other pairs where we found some potential setups. Okay, we keep it super simple and we don't force anything, because we know that if we FOMO into trades that aren't there, we don't have anything to win. We have everything to lose. Okay, we need to stay as professional as possible and as strict as possible. All right. So yeah, that being said, this pretty much ends today's metals analysis. As always, if there's any questions, make sure to reach out on Discord. And now I will go over today's indices analysis, starting off with US30. So on US30, we can see that we are heavily trending towards the downside. Okay, so I would be keen to look for some sell opportunities, but right here, yes, we have this range, but because we don't really have any unmitigated order blocks or fair value gaps in our area of interest, I am not considered taking it. Okay, so currently on US30, I don't see anything. I will just wait for price to develop and then look for some potential setups on this indice as well. Next up, SPX, we do have a sell limit on this one. Very textbook liquidity sweep followed by an impulsive move to the downside that broke structure here. Okay, looking very beautifully. And then if we look towards our premium area, we can see that we have a unmitigated order block lining up perfectly with our area of interest. And if we enable the trader indicator, it is looking very beautifully and it is giving us some great confluences. Okay, we can see the daily, the 4-hour on the graph are both bearish. And then we also have the trader order block lining up perfectly with our area of interest. All right, so now we want to see a corrective pullback towards the fire zone in order for us to pull the trigger. Next up, we have NAS100 with another beautiful sell limit opportunity. All right, so looking pretty similar to SPX, we have a liquidity sweep here, followed by a impulsive break of structure to the downside. Okay, very impulsive, as we can see. We also left this fair value gap behind that is kind of lining up with our premium area. And if we enable the trader indicator, again, some great confluences with it. Daily 4-hour on the graph, bearish, and then we have the trader order block that sits right on our area of interest. All right, so now as always, we just want to see a corrective pullback in order for us to pull the trigger. And that being said, this pretty much ends today's indices analysis. As always, if there's any questions or unclarities, make sure to reach out on Discord. And lastly, I will go over today's crypto analysis, starting off with Bitcoin. So on Bitcoin, we can see that we have this bullish range, this buy limit opportunity here, but price just started to consolidate around the 34K area. Okay, so we want to see if it will pull back towards our area of interest. Okay, and if we can buy from there, because we had a very nice impulsive break. We also have fair value gaps being left behind that line up perfectly with our area of interest. Okay, so because of that, and because we also had some great confluences with the trader indicator, we can see that the graph is bullish. We decided to consider taking this setup, but now we just want to see a continuation of this corrective pullback towards our fire zone in order for us to pull the trigger. Next up, we have Ethereum. So on Ethereum, we currently don't see anything. We approached a pretty important higher time frame level, and I just want to see how price will start reacting to it. Okay, I want to see either a break to the upside, breaking this high here, or I want to see a clear break towards the downside. But currently, we are pretty much in the middle of nowhere. We don't really have the best volume on Ethereum yet. So because of that, we will stay on the sidelines and leave the price to develop some more. Next up, we have Dogecoin. And to be fair, on this one, we kind of have the same exact situation as on Ethereum. The volume slowed down a little bit. We don't really have a clear range. We are pretty much in the middle of nowhere. So on this one, again, I will just leave it to develop some more before considering taking some setups. And XRP, again, not much to discuss about it. Pretty much the same. Okay, very choppy. Volume pretty slow right now. So we are just going to leave the price to develop and not force anything. Okay, knowing when to stay on the sidelines, I've mentioned this before, is as important, if not more important, than trading actively profitably. Okay, remember that. And lastly, we have Solana. So on Solana, we have a nice buy limit opportunity. Okay, so we have a clear liquidity sweep here, followed by a very aggressive move towards the upside. All right. And now we just want to wait and see how price will pull back towards our area of interest in order for us to decide whether we pull the trigger or not. And lastly, trader indicator is giving us again a pretty good confluence on the graph. Daily 4 hour both bullish, looking good. That's what we want to see. And yeah, that being said, this pretty much ends today's crypto analysis. As always, if there's any questions, make sure to reach out on Discord, and take care.